Yellow Love will be the opposite commander. And Yellow Love, I'm sure you are all familiar with. Da Boys, literally, this squad have been a part of so many versions of this competition, from Delta Force Global Leagues to show matches. John the Bomb, Yellow Love, RFGL, and this time player 1 is going to be their fourth. And Vivid, I gotta say, this squad is one that we have to watch out for. They constantly, consistently, every tournament are some of the top fraggers and some of the best in the biz. Folks, welcome to esports. We're getting into the games immediately. Oh, wow. I am so excited. No Mercy versus college dropouts, and you're right, a good shot on Fault. This will be an interesting one. I think generally speaking for Fault, this map is can go pretty quick. This is only 3 sectors, and 3 sectors with 2 capture points in each. So maybe we see a hold on A1, A2. Maybe we see it on B1, B2. But it will come down to C1 and C2, if not the first 2. But let's take a look at it. Game's getting started.
As you can already see right there, this map is very vehicle heavy. A bunch of them already kind of rolling out, and we did get a little bit of a glimpse of the dogfight out in the distance right here. The thing about this map too is that, you mentioned it, there are 3 sectors, and it's, very fast-paced map. I feel like all the sectors kind of have the same kind of theme to them, where it feels like you're always kind of pushing up a cliff. But I feel like that's very defensive sided. However, those vehicles being able to kind of lay down some covering fire on top of those hill lines is going to be the difference maker right now. So that way your attacks can actually get up these cliffs. As you can see right here, big staircases to kind of go through and head towards all of the points.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And we're seeing some early action here, and we will start again with a 2 capture point sector of A1, A2. It's not necessarily atypical, but it's not that common to have an A1 and A2 across all of our maps in Delta Force. And so there's one to start out with where we're already see that classic casual. You're going to get tired of me saying it. The tug of war begins very soon. As you can see, the attack has decided to move for A2 first, which means A1 may be a bit vulnerable for a counterattack. We'll see what happens, but so far so good. The defense has been able to hold on for a little bit, but both being ticked down already.
Yeah, I mean, definitely holding it down, right? Nothing to really worry about, but yeah, the fact that, actually, I'm going to say there's a lot to worry about. If you take a look at the distance right there, A1 is getting swarmed by players highlighted in red. The attack is definitely going to secure A1 very early on, and listen, if they have that much control over the map already, I would not be surprised if A2 were to fall soon after.
Yeah, and this is obviously a look at Fault, and you can see that already we've got some vehicles in here for not only jets in the sky. Shout out to the jets. We've seen some great plays with them. I think a dogfight's still happening likely, but also vehicles on the ground for the attack already. An armored transport, an IFV, so far, or a LAV. It looks like they're actually getting quite a bit of value out of these vehicles, making sure people can get onto the map quickly. We'll see what the defense is able to do. All day today, by the way, red going to be your attackers, green going to be your defense. If you're watching from our in-game esports observer, whether it's in free cam or in this POV, if you see green, that's our defending team. And already the attack has taken A1.
Yeah, I'm happy that you went ahead and mentioned that, because I saw top right of your screen, I saw in the kill feed, I did see a jet pick up an elimination from the attacking side, so you have to imagine the skies are being controlled right now by the attackers, which is potentially the foothold for this domination over the A sector right now. A2 is actually in the control of the attackers right now, so much so that Flix here is going to be pushing towards the spawn of the defenders, is kind of holding them out. This is surely an easy capture for the attackers already, and Goj, we like to talk about it as well. Last weekend, it was like a big talking point for us. How many lives you actually spend pushing some of these sectors? They've spent 20. That is not enough to feel confident on the defensive side.
No, it's really good shot. A1 and A2 go almost immediately. I mean, we don't lose anything. We're up to max lives going into B1, B2. Reminder, there's only 3 sectors. The attack looking pretty strong. I know a lot of folks like to favor this defensive position, but here's the thing about Warfare. It is all momentum, and the attack has all of that momentum. They are drifting to the finish line already as we wrap up the first 2 points. But a little bit harder of a task. Up the hill we go, up into the fortress, B1 and B2. Let's see what they can do as we begin to move to the new one.
Yeah, and these terrain make it very, very hard for vehicles to get involved on some of these points. As you can see, it's very linear, right? There's one dirt road path kind of up to the points right there, and I actually saw there were some anti-tank mines already placed down, which is why you can see off in the distance the attacking vehicles kind of laying down suppressive fire on these ridgelines, because if they get involved, they can very easily be destroyed. So the vehicle game is a little bit atypical than what we're kind of used to seeing. Usually the vehicles want to kind of get involved, make a big impact play for your side to actually get some control over the map, but this is going to be one of those cases where it'll be very, very hard for them to actually get onto the point.
Yeah, it does look like, by the way, as the attack is trying to figure out what the entry point will be, I believe our defense did pick up a tank destroyer, so they're going to have a little bit more firepower holding these points down. I would expect them to be able to hold it for longer, especially because I believe it'll be John the Bomb has been agreed to be one of their main vehicle drivers, which is pretty standard. We'll see if that's correct. I can't quite read the name, but we'll keep an eye out maybe on the kill feed as well. We're getting a closer look. It actually looks like maybe it's Element in the one of the vehicles at the very least. And I am getting word from production that is Element for sure. So I wonder what John's doing right now, as he traditionally speaking has been in the in the defensive vehicles, Element on the attacking vehicles. Let's see if maybe he can strike back and finally punish some of the attacking vehicles.
Okay, Element kind of controlling one of the vehicles. I did see it was Columbus 13 on the attacking side that was picking up more kills out of the jet. So that jet is still alive for the attacking side of things. And actually, off in the distance as well, in the sky, I see a helicopter picked up for the attack as well. So aerial dominance coming out for the attacking side. And I feel like that's going to be so important.
Yeah, the vehicle dominance right now. I mean, again, this is fault 3 sectors and a lot of vehicles already moving into the mix, so it's utter chaos always. Alcatraz in the defensive vehicle. It looks like one of the 2 now that they have, so a big battle happening around both points right now. The attackers trying to secure here on B1. B2 getting ticked back the way of the defense, but B1 going to the side of the attackers at least for now. But how many bodies do they truly have? Not enough. Looks like a ton of green in the kill feed. The defense finding a stabilization moment. And I did see John the Bomb has one of those vehicles. Watch out for John.
Yeah, great swarm from the defensive side of things. Usually, Goj likes to point at the tug of war, and I was like, okay, there's a lot of defenders on B1. I know there's attackers on B2 too, so they've probably got a bigger presence on B2, but no, they actually successfully defended both at the same exact time, recaptured both of them right there, so great job by the defense.
Yeah, Alcatraz able to maintain control over his vehicle for the defense, but John just got rocketed out of it. Seemingly didn't have enough engineers around or just got caught in a weird angle coming around the backside. Watch out for that heli. I'll be paying attention to the kill feed to see how much value they can get out of it. Can certainly pepper this point, though. You can see some of that value already coming through as the attackers swarm onto B2 and have an advantage there. Let's see what the defense does.
Yeah, the flood onto B2 is seeming to be the focus right now for the attackers. They must have a squad kind of off in the distance, kind of pulling some respawn points in for their squad, because it looks like this constant flow keeps coming in right now. But B2 is still very, very hard to take. There's a lot of angles that the defenders can use, and as I say that, the head glitch absolutely ripped off of it.
They got control for now, but not too many places you can hide. A few pieces of cover down here, and you just got to run through the smoke. Anything you get your hands on and get bodies onto the point. One way to do that, though, is run Stinger. You're going to be seeing a lot of Stinger operators today, making sure that they revive, keep people up, heal people when they can. And you're seeing it in perfect display on main, on the point, to make sure they have the majority. Here's a look at our jet over the top, trying to run some dogfights when they need to, and some bombing runs when they have to.
One of the great things about, watching warfare is that when you tune in, you sometimes get a glimpse at what one side has down. And as we were kind of tuning into the jet right there, I saw from the distance, we saw there was like 5 respawn beacons down on the backside of some of these points. So a lot of options for the attacking side to kind of keep this flood going on, which is why the B2 attack is so constant right now. But as I say that, look at this. The defense, again, going to be defending, but they invest all of those resources, and now B1 is completely attack-sided. That one's going to be going over to them for sure.
Yeah, this is a fun moment where we get to talk about, I wonder if that tug-of-war analogy, we'll have to think of another one, because you can't swap sides in tug-of-war, but that's really what's going on here, right? Traditionally, it's like we give up one in order to maintain the other, and this will go back and forth all day today, but the attack did a perfect counterattack over to the other side. Once they saw B2 being swarmed, they said that means B1 is wide open for us, and a great call. I'm not sure who made that call, but in Victory Unite, the commander can issue orders. We'll watch out for some of those as well. Another way to earn points, which allows you to get some of those support systems coming through, like our artillery barrage, guided missile, and everything in between, as well as getting more vehicles on the map.
Absolutely. And you see John the Bomb right there kind of making a push with the vehicle. He's going to be getting blown up after he did take down one. So that's a 1-for-1 trade in terms of the vehicle game right now. Now, B2, or the B sector in general right now, this one's going definitely a lot better for the defense, right? And, you know, obviously they've already lost B1. I don't know if they'll be able to reclaim that because, you know, it seemed like there was such a heavy presence from No Mercy all over that point. But the upside being is that we're down to 105 lives, right? They have made a huge effort to go ahead and pick up a lot of kills that have not been able to pick up right now. So great job for them. And if they can keep kind of dipping into the attack side's resource here of just straight up lives, then going into C, if it goes to C, they're going to be sitting in a very good spot.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I think they would certainly, attackers won't be at full lives if they cap here soon, but it looks like Alcatraz seeing some nice value in the defensive side in a new vehicle that he's gotten his hand on. I gotta say, I gotta shout out Element on the attacking side in the vehicle. Been in the vehicle for a long time and getting a ton of value out of it. You can see that vehicle down below playing kind of this in-between and now pushing up over to B1 to make sure they maintain control. They've got to have a solid position on the map in order to spawn in and be able to mass up again. Right now, they're a bit scattered as B1 is slowly ticking back to the defense if they can't figure things out.
I'm very surprised that that's even possible right now, right? We saw how dominant it looked, and I mean, this is why I'm kind of surprised as well. It's like when we kind of take a look at the vehicle economy, the attack side just has so much presence with the helicopter and the jet. And then, you know, the aerial view maybe giving us a different perspective on things. Yeah, there's actually a lot of places to kind of hide inside of buildings around B2, right? So maybe that's kind of being the difference right now. But I mean, the value for the helicopter and the jet right now, do we think that we're getting the value that we need right now?
Yeah, it looks cool. That's a great question. I'm not seeing them lighting up the kill feed necessarily. I mean, there is a decent amount of cover on these points. Maybe our two area vehicles, there's nobody else in the skies. Maybe they're not getting as much value as they'd like, as B1 and B2 are going back to the defense. Now, the attack have a position here on B2, slowly ticking it back down, but not a crazy amount of bodies. All it takes is one solid push from the defense, and all of a sudden, we could be in trouble, and there it is. Ooh, I did just see the jet pick up a triple, though. Could have opened things back up on maybe B1. We'll see what happens, as both points now in jeopardy.
Yeah, as we say that, they must have heard us, Goj, right? The kill feed is getting lit up right now by jets and helicopters, so the value definitely being found right now. It'll be the question of like, hey, listen, you know, we kind of had this last week on the map Cyclone, right, where the jet was kind of flying around a point where he literally could have no value, and so kind of surviving that point where maybe you have less value to get to that next point where you have a lot of value actually ended up paying off last week, and so we'll have to see if that's kind of a similar thing right now. But yeah, B1 being recaptured and B2 almost being the same, but it looks like the defense comes in.
Yeah, we saw that free cam briefly for a moment. We saw almost all of the attackers on B1. They just want to try to find a stabilization point, and the defense are trying to figure out how the heck do I take down these vehicles in the sky. These are brutal vehicles to try to shoot with an AT-4. You got to line it up perfectly, and I got to say, our helicopter operator is doing a masterful job of making sure they are an extremely evasive target. Here's a look at the jet. Does he have the flares coming through? Did maybe a little bit of damage? No, oh, it did. It did connect. It's very low. It's going to have to back up, at least give them breathing room. But here comes the helicopter, and we don't have another rocket.
Yeah, that's going to be Silly Kitty in that helicopter, I believe, is the operator. Looks like Funky is in the helicopter as well. So they are putting on a masterclass performance right now. And look at this, right? Eyes on Voltaic. He's kind of running towards B2. He was the one using that rocket launcher, kind of staring up in the sky. He looks over towards B2. He realizes, holy moly, there's like 10 attackers on it. And that's what those aerial vehicles could do, right? They can draw so many eyes up to the sky, and you kind of forget maybe sometimes that you invest all that time. And you look over and you're like, oh, my objective.
Yeah, I looked over to the right side, and it was all red all day between jet, helicopter, and people on the ground. It looks like the attackers have a decent foothold on both positions, and they could take B2 here. This is a nice take on point. I'm seeing Vasi pick up a ton on point with the duo, making sure they stay alive and just trying to win this point. They got to push to point C. We only have 57 lives remaining. Like you said, the defense has done a great job, but I don't think it's good enough. As we called them out, the skies answered. And sometimes if you win the skies, you can win the ground. And finally, they saw some nice value as we push on to C1, C2. Now, only with 106 lives, nowhere near max, but even still, a great job thus far.
Yeah, I feel like right now going into the C sector, each side kind of has an advantage. One, the defense has the advantage of, hey, listen, they only have 106 lives. The attack has the advantage now of the C sector is completely open. There's no buildings here, right? So that helicopter and the jet, their value is going to be amplified on these points right now. So I feel like if I were to go ahead and pick a side that I feel like was going to win over the C sector, I would actually give it to the attack. I feel like our helicopter and jet operators have been very, very good throughout this match, but now they're going to have a field day.
Yeah, I mean, this kill feed is all red all the way through. Finally seeing some green, and it looks like they're actually maybe falling from the skies, or I don't know, but they are dying. Green killing green, red killing everybody else. Right now, the attack has so much momentum, and I think a great shout-out from you. Not a ton of aerial cover here, which means our helicopter and our jet get to have so much fun on this map. And with the vehicle advantage on the side of the attackers, the defense can't get anything going. Holy cow.
The kill feed is literally all red right now. Goj, we talked about it. They were going into the C sector, 106 tickets. They are about to capture C1 with 106 tickets. They have not lost a single one, and they are about to take over the sector. Complete and utter dominance from the attack right now.
Wow, especially after the last hold. I wasn't expecting it. But again, such a difficult position when you literally cannot breathe for any more than a second or two before this jet comes sweeping in. A tank just spawned in for the attackers. They called it in, likely with some of their score that they've earned through this game. It's gonna be a brutal one. Finally, green striking back. The defense finding a bit of foothold, but only for a moment.
Yeah, I'd have to imagine right now it's gonna be a little too late to kind of make a push, right? Kind of make that defensive hold. It seems like it's all just dominance right now from the attacking side of things, and you kind of called it out, right? The tank kind of adding insult to injury right now. That one's going to be getting involved very, very shortly, and yeah, I mean, I feel like the attack just way too dominant.
Extremely dominant. Some decent solo plays from some of our defenders, but it feels like the team cohesion from our attack is much cleaner right now, or at the very least, they've just won the vehicle war, and it's paid off. But either way you look at it, these teams trying to get a footing, trying to figure out how to play together. Reminder, the squads qualified together, not the team. Commanders were picked. The commanders then drafted each of the squads. And here we are. People that don't know each other trying to play together, just like public lobbies, but here in custom matches, it is all that more difficult. And finally...
Now, that being said...
Vivid, the only thing I was going to say is just... Somehow the defense has stabilized a bit on...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say too. I was like, you know, we're kind of talking the attack up right now, but there's no progress being made onto C2 right now. Maybe that urgent deployment time being used by the defenders right there, maybe coming into play. But, you know, as we say that, a little bit of a Goj curse as the attack is now getting onto the point.
Yeah, every time we say anything, the exact opposite is going to happen. I love it. I will call out, by the way, top middle of your screen, urgent deployment time remaining. That means one of our commanders has called in one of these score abilities. This is not the most recent update, but it did come in the last couple updates here in Victory Unite. This allows you to basically immediately respawn. Obviously, there's a curse to this if you're the attack. If you give up to immediately respawn to get your body into the game again, you are giving up that life. So you actually see during that deployment, our lives drop dramatically. A blessing and a curse, but right now it's looking like a blessing as they do have almost full control over both points. That urgent redeploy timer got more bodies onto the point faster. They sacrificed a few lives for it, but C2 is going to go their way and C1 in jeopardy.
Yeah, C2 is going to be fully captured right now, and as you can see, there's only a couple of defenders kind of trying to withstand the attack onto the C1. They tried to go ahead and, you know, pull out that tug of war tactic, going around the backside, trying to get into a C1 to kind of distract some of the attackers. But I think with the vehicle dominance, C1 should be an easy recapture. But that being said, it is actually going quite heavily in the defensive side of things. Man, I mean, shout out to the defenders right now. This looked very grim, but they are still in this.
They're still in it, and I think it's mostly on the back of... It's actually Westa here on screen on the attacking side showing us what I was going to highlight on the defensive side, some solo hero plays. Again, the team play doesn't feel good from the defense, but we have seen a couple defenders pick up triple, quadruple, even quintuple kills as a solo in each life, which is giving just enough room to breathe for the defense for a moment as they find more and more value on the map. They have retaken, they've swapped sides again. You can see the spawns coming in. C1 goes to the side of the attack. C2 now in jeopardy, and the defense have a small footing there, and they've got to make hero plays on the map. And it starts with individual gunplay. You gotta shoot straighter than your opponent and hope one of these helicopter missiles don't hit you in the face.
Yeah, I feel like this push is going to be the one that goes ahead and secures it for the attacking side of things. I saw a lot of defenders actually running up the dirt path behind the points, right? So that means there was no respawn beacons down, nobody left on the squad left alive. So that run all the way over to C2 is going to be a little bit too long, and that one's going to secure it. No Mercy takes the attack side of all things to go ahead and win the first game.
As college dropouts are going to be swapping over to the attacking side as well. And so we'll see them in red this time around, whereas No Mercy will be actually in green into this second map. And so keep your eyes out for that. We've got to get a win here for college dropouts. If they are able to win on the attacking side, we'll go to game 3. However, if No Mercy is able to hold on any of these points, there it is. Thank you so much, production. No Mercy, if they hold on A1, A2, or C1 and C2, maybe even it's B, I don't care. If they hold at all, No Mercy will be the victors of the EU finals. Red has to win this. College dropouts have to win this to force game 3, or they are out of this competition already. Here's our quick dogfight. Fault is a cinematic map, man. This is crazy start.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff. We saw how much impact the Jet had over course of all 3 sectors. You got to imagine if you are on the defensive side of things, you are going to want to go ahead and win that dogfight, because we saw how much pressure the Jet was able to apply on the attack side of things. And yeah, you know how Fault goes, right? We are instantly already kind of involved, already pressuring the sector here, A sector. And I will say, I'm not 100% sure if it came from the Jet on Jet combat, but we do still have the same Jet operator on the side of No Mercy. That's going to be Columbus 13. And I did see them pick up a kill in the kill feed already. I'm not sure if that was on the other Jet, but you got to imagine if Columbus 13 is alive picking up kills, then I think No Mercy might have won again.
Yeah, if they won that early Jet encounter, I'm going to be honest, I was looking at the team chats. The only thing college dropouts were talking about in the team chat was, hey, we got to win the Jet fight. Anybody want to take the Jet? Who do we think is going to win the Jet? Can we win the Jet fight, please? That was basically everything that they were saying. And so I'm seeing Columbus again in the kill feed. I think you might be right. The dogfight might have gone to No Mercy, which means they may have controlled the skies yet again. We'll see how that all plays out here shortly, as No Mercy seems to hold on A1 and A2, at least for now.
Oh, I mean, they absolutely have held. If we talk about game number 1, right? No Mercy actually had the entirety of Sector A captured, and they had 160 tickets left. We are already below 160, and we are about halfway through capturing A2 right now. So this is kind of what I was talking about, right? Making sure you put a dampening on the economy of the attack. If they do end up, picking up Sector A, hey, we got to make sure their tickets are already done right now, and No Mercy kind of winning that game already. It's looking good for them.
Yeah, it's looking really good. Playing really well together thus far, but let's see what they're able to do here as A2 finally falling to the attacking side, getting some decent value. As a reminder, the attack does end up getting pretty good amount of vehicles on the ground, traditionally speaking, on Fault, so watch out for those as they come spawning in. I think the problem is the Jet knows that as well, and our Jet operator is definitely going to be paying attention to which vehicles are coming in, and can he lay down some covering fire, potentially take the vehicles out before they get involved. That would be a huge boon, of course, for the defensive side, and will absolutely dictate who wins this map. It's going to come down to air superiority. It's going to come down to these vehicles on the ground. And so far, A1 now going to the attacking side as they slowly but surely take our very first point.
And we can sit here and we can talk about who the top Slayer is, what the air dominance is kind of looking like, who's doing the best in the vehicles, how many tickets they have left. But there's always another side of these competitions that we don't talk about a lot, and it's going to be the mental game. If your entire team chat is talking about winning the dogfight off rip and you lose it, Dude, I mean, that's terrible, right? Like your whole team's like, oh, great, we lost the aerial fight, and it kind of feels like the thing's already over. So I do feel bad for college dropouts right now. Ooh, wait a minute.
Take a look at it. Oh, okay. Well, my bad.
Got us.
I think it was full tank that decided to take the attacker side. I don't think this is a replay, by the way. If it was production, you can let me know. Maybe that was a replay. That was live. They said, okay, we literally are cursing everything that we talk about. Maybe we should just shut the heck up. I don't know what's going on. But unfortunately, all of our suspicions weren't correct, but they ended up being right. A little bit of prophecy foretold here, as it is Columbus winning the fight in the air. And I wonder if Voltaic maybe got weak and just backtracked and ran out of here for a while, came back and finally got punished. Either way you look at it, the defense, yes, they lost A1 and A2, but they have won the skies. We do have full lives, though, Vivid, going into B1, B2.
Yeah, actually very, very surprising right there. I was kind of talking about the ticket economy and how it looked like there had been a big chunk taken out. And there was, right? They were down to about 130, but I feel like we blinked. We were kind of laughing about, Columbus picking up the Voltaic kill, and then, oh, wow, Sector A is captured. Okay, cool. I don't know what just happened or how that coin flipped so fast. But yeah, on to the B sector right now. And again, this is going to be one of those ones where very, very hard to get involved. The cliff here that you do have to traverse is very difficult, right? Because the head glitches at the defensive side can kind of peek over the top of that cliff. It's very, very strong, but already I am actually seeing quite a big and significant push from the attack side. Somehow they've already managed their way up to the cliff, it looks like.
Yeah, quickly up here. The attack, college dropouts finding some footing on the map. Here's a quick look over the top, and speaking of a battle of the skies, we've got the attackers with a helicopter for no much more than maybe a second or two. And that is one of the things that we were talking a bit about during the break. The players were talking about it as well. If you win the jet battle, that jet can take down a helicopter quickly. And I think a combination of the jet and maybe some ground fire, our attacker helicopter gone immediately, which is bad news for a team that desperately needs a win.
I mean, the chemistry right there, right? A synchronized attack from a ground vehicle and the jet at the same exact time to make sure that helicopter does not find any value. Well done from No Mercy to go ahead and kind of find that cohesion to go ahead and dominate right now. And yeah, if you keep your eyes peeled for just a couple of seconds towards the top right of your screen, towards that kill feed, I mean, it's just vehicle filled for the defensive side. The vehicle economy definitely in their favor.
And you saw another attacker vehicle on the ground get exploded, so huge advantage. B1 and B2, 30 lives gone in a blink of an eye, and B1 and B2 basically haven't been touched yet. Now, this is decently standard, like you were talking about. This kind of entry point into these first 2 points can be quite difficult, so the attackers can find an entry point, maybe put down some respawn beacons. Could be pretty huge. Unfortunately, I think Little J, I think maybe blew up his own anti-tank mines, and it's going to respawn for us.
That's awesome. Not only does he go down because of that, right, but he spent a lot of time putting those mines down, and now they're all but not. So a little bit of a waste, but hey, we win some, we lose some, and we were kind of talking about how it felt like the defensive side of things, had a pretty strong foot on the B sector, even though the attack side had so many vehicles in that last game. But now it's the flip-flop, right? The defense has a lot of vehicles. Are they going to be able to kind of get onto these points where it's pretty hard just because of all of the buildings that are around and all of the choke points? You got to imagine if you find a vehicle in a choke point, it should be pretty easy for the attack side to go ahead and blow them up.
Yeah, true.
We'll have to see.
Yeah, no, I like that shout. I think this is the moment where we can play a little bit slower as the attackers with the vehicles to make sure we keep them alive going into C. But you obviously don't want to hedge your bets if you have any that you can't even make it to C. So you're probably going to have to get aggressive. Once you get aggressive, these vehicles are definitely able to be blown up on either side. But I bet the defense is going to play nice and slow with their vehicles as they have a very easy hold, and any attacker vehicle is going to have to play aggro and probably get punished for it. I like that shot a lot. Right now, the defense is unstoppable. Again, both points in full control.
Not to be that guy here, Goj, but, Stored Life there on the defensive side of things, playing Nox in Warfare. What do we feel about the value of Nox in Warfare?
Yeah, maybe on B2. Let me come back to it, because I will say John the Bomb.
Uh-oh.
Well, he's in the helicopter, that's for sure. And he's actually peppering this jet. We've got the battle for air superiority John the Bomb, known to be clutch in the moment when his team needs him most, and he's got to win a aerial battle between a jet and a helicopter when he's on the heli side. I don't like his odds, but so far, I think he's got a little bit of a health advantage because he is full health still, and the only thing he is looking at is getting rid of this jet, which is going to be very difficult in this heli. You're really skilled. It is possible, but you've got to hit your shots, and you got to take advantage of it. And it's just pass after pass, as it does look like Columbus is back to full health now and is so much more maneuverable than this helicopter. Can even make some bombing runs down below as John the Bomb climbs the skies and then tries to hunt down his prey. This is warfare right here. This is a battle for the ages, and it certainly is distracting a few folks down on the point.
You know, I was actually going to make the point that, hey, listen, you know, John the Bomb, yeah, they may not even have to take out the jet.
Yep.
They can just stay alive and keep Columbus distracted, then they're kind of losing the value of the jet anyway. And then as I was kind of thinking about saying that, I watched Columbus make like a bomb run down towards B as he's like under attack by a helicopter. Like, Columbus 13 is doing such a good job in the jet right now for No Mercy. It is insane.
Yeah, it is one of those things I saw the players talking about. It was like, hey, is anybody experienced in the jet? Like, a decently new vehicle. Everybody loves helicopters. Everybody loves the tank destroyers and the M1A1 tanks and obviously the IFVs and everything down below that you could use. But not everybody's had a crazy amount of experience in the jet. I mean, there's only a couple that spawn in. Not even every single map has one. So somebody's been practicing, and I think that somebody is Columbus. And it looks like the defense, although they were shaky for a moment on both points there, they're now fully restabilized, and it does look like Columbus continues to find kills while fighting John in the skies. That jet just so much more maneuverable than the helicopter, and John just struggling to stay alive right now as it looks like an Allure rocket's going to try to hit there to help out our jet in the sky.
No, that would be crazy. I would just watch him land an Allure rocket on a flying helicopter. That would be crazy. Back to the ground, though, right? The B sector is not even slightly captured for the attack side right now. B1, B2, fully in control for the defensive side of things. 60 tickets remaining right now. You know, college dropouts, yeah, they're kind of lighting up the feed right now, but in terms of the macro game across the entirety of the map, I cannot lie, Goj, it is looking quite grim.
Yeah, this is brutal. I gotta say, Columbus has been in the lab, but the defense just looks like the stronger team. Whether it's Be Quiet's draft, you can see on your screen right now, obviously we're watching D9, but Be Quiet and their squad, whether it's their drafting capabilities, their knowledge of the player base, or just a little happenstance of how they've been able to put together their team chemistry with a couple strong heroes. Columbus may be my MVP, but this team is the better team right now. There is no question about it. As No Mercy slowly but surely whittle down these lives. Finally, some value coming through from Yellow Love. The boys are putting all the effort that they can, even a data knife to the face. Yellow Love's giving everything he can to his opponents, and they have found some value on B1 Vivid, but they got to capture both. And right now, I only see 2 bodies on B2 quickly getting cut down as the defense restabilizes over there.
Yeah, Fault Sector B could be the determining factor for who goes to Vietnam. Remember what is on the line right now. No Mercy have already picked up game number 1. They are currently 30 tickets away for booking themselves a trip to land right now. And as it currently stands, B1, B2 going back in their control, slowly creeping up, which means that they've got more men on those capture points right now, and the tickets, they're just dropping fast.
I can only assume, too, this urgent deployment time is coming in from No Mercy, as they have certainly rallied up a ton more score than their opponents. So you're going to see a ton of defenders onto the map very quickly with this new deployment time. You can give up and immediately spawn back in. Seeing some nice value over the top here from Funky, but either way you look at it, it's been a battle for the skies, and the battle for the skies has determined the battle on the ground. The defense has vehicles on the ground and in the skies. They've got advantages everywhere, and these lives are dwindling so dramatically. Holy cow, the attack goes down to 10 and counting. This is not even close. They're giving everything they can in the final moments. But Vivid, I think this is a defensive win. I think this is No Mercy taking it to the house, taking it to Vietnam.
4 tickets remaining. It's all but said and done. You just got to go ahead and close the book at this point. B1, yeah, the attack side, college dropouts, they made a final push towards the end. And as I say that, wait a minute, Goj, B2 is being captured fast.
Ran
Rockets
out.
hit 0. Oh,
Ran
that push.
out.